It's 3:07 a.m. You were asleep. Now you're not. You're wide awake. Your heart's pounding. Your thoughts are racing. And you already know, you're not falling back asleep. If this is happening to you a couple of times a week, it's not random. There's a specific reason why this is happening to you. And once you understand why, it changes everything about how you fix it. But to understand what's going on in your body, you first need to understand what normally is supposed to happen in sleep. There are three main things that happen. First is that your body temperature gradually declines as the night goes on, typically dropping at around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Second is that your melatonin, the substance that allows you to fall asleep, gradually declines as the night goes on as well. Third is that your cortisol, the get up and go hormone or stress hormone, typically is at its lowest at around 3 o'clock in the morning and gradually starts to rise at about, or peak at about 5 or 6 a.m., about the time that your body is naturally inclined to wake up. In midlife, progesterone is the first hormone to decline. Everybody thinks it's estrogen, but progesterone tends to drop long before you have any idea that your estrogen levels are out of whack. The reason for this is that as your menstrual cycle becomes more irregular, progesterone levels drop. Irregular cycles lead to irregular ovulation, and progesterone is only released after ovulation. So irregular ovulation leads to less progesterone. Now, progesterone isn't just a reproductive hormone. It also has major impacts on the brain. In the brain, progesterone is turned into allopregnanolone. This acts on GABA receptors in the brain, and GABA is the main neurotransmitter that puts brakes on the nervous system. When you take a sleeping pill, the sleeping pill is working by acting on GABA receptors. So think of progesterone as the body's natural sleeping pill. So as progesterone drops, you lose that braking effect on the nervous system. It becomes more reactive and harder to settle back down. But progesterone also does other things that no one talks about. It also suppresses the hypothalamic pituitary axis, or HPA axis. The HPA axis is the system that controls cortisol, and progesterone prevents that system from becoming overreactive. As progesterone levels drop, the HPA axis becomes more reactive, and you get a spike in the morning rather than a gradual increase. Also, your baseline levels of cortisol are increased. And on top of that, that gradual rise that tends to happen after 3 o'clock in the morning and peak around 6 tends to shift earlier into the evening, into the night. So that combination, the gradual decline in melatonin, the decreased progesterone from perimenopause, and the gradual shift in cortisol earlier into the night, they all coincide at around the same time to occur at 3 o'clock in the morning. But that's not all. Estrogen is involved in regulating your temperature. Think of it as the thermostat in your body. As your estrogen levels become erratic, the ability to control and tolerate temperature changes becomes decreased. So that natural drop in temperature that occurs in the early morning, your body interprets that as being too cold and it overreacts. You get vasomotor symptoms. Your blood vessels dilate. Your heart races. Your blood pressure is up. You're sweating. And when does that happen? At 3 o'clock in the morning, same time as that cortisol spike. But that's not all. The estrogen and the cortisol, they're synergistic. One amplifies the other. So that explains why you wake up in a sweat, your heart racing, and you can't fall back asleep. You can't fall back asleep because the progesterone, the melatonin, the GABA, the things that would normally allow you to fall back asleep, they're already low. And the things that are keeping you awake, the cortisol, they're high. And if you're a man watching this, the same basic mechanisms apply. Testosterone has a similar effect on sleep as estrogen does through similar mechanisms. The cortisol shift occurs, decreased GABA. All of this happens in men too. Andropause is real. So what can you do about this? What actually helps? First of all, recognize that this isn't a sleep hygiene problem. This is a hormonal problem. Assuming you've taken care of the sleep hygiene things like avoiding caffeine late at night, blue light, exercise right before bed, things like that. Recognize that this is a hormonal problem because that fundamentally changes how you're going to treat it. Second of all, consider taking a snack about an hour before bedtime. Take a snack with healthy fats and protein. The reason for this is if you get a low blood sugar in the middle of the night, the body will interpret that as a stress signal and it'll raise your cortisol. If that's happening at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, that's going to coincide with that natural cortisol spike that we've just been talking about. So taking a snack with healthy fats and protein will help smooth out your glucose over the night. Third, consider taking magnesium glycinate. Melatonin helps you fall asleep, but magnesium helps you stay asleep by acting on GABA receptors. Fourth is understand the pattern that's happening here. I have created an assessment that will allow you to identify what major pattern is happening in your body. And once you know what's happening in your body, you can understand better what to do about it. The link is in the description below. And if you know anybody who's staring at the ceiling right now, send them this video because nothing is wrong with them. Their body's just changing. Nobody explained why until now. I'm Dr. Richard Perrin, the hormonal neurosurgeon. I'll see you in the next one.